Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be building this exact website you see in under 10 minutes. So here we can just take a quick glance. We have our little title right here called Fit Strong, and we have some navigational elements right here. And if we click them, they scroll down to the exact section. We scroll down to the services, our blogs, and we already have our contact here. So we're going to be building this, and of course it might seem very challenging and difficult at first, but believe me, it really isn't. So let's head over to Visual Studio Code and get this done. So here we are in Visual Studio Code, and we're going to quickly speedrun this because we're trying to get this done in under 10 minutes. So you should already know how to use HTML and CSS, so we're going to speedrun this with a shortcut from the Visual Studio Code editor, and all you have to do is just type in the exclamation point and it will do this for you. So now we're going to name the title of our page. We're going to do Fit Strong like that. And now we need to create the 5 sections. So we're going to use section right here, and we're going to give it an ID of hero, which will be our first section. And then we can easily just replicate that like so. Now that we have our 5 sections all done and made, we're going to go link this index.html to some CSS from Bootstrap, because why invent the wheel when you don't have to? Am I right? So what we're going to do is we're going to link this CSS to our index.html file, and this will stylize all our elements so we don't have to do it ourselves. So now we can go create our navigation, because that is the next thing that we are going to need to do. So to do that, we are going to go create our navigation by calling nav like this, and it's going to have all these classes connected to this navigation thanks to our bootstrap.min. And by the way, I'm going to leave a link to this in the description below, as well as also a link to this exact file, so you guys can go copy it if you want to, or you guys can go modify the template or do whatever you want to do with it. So anyways, we have this navigation. We're going to create another div container inside of our navigation, and it's just going to have the class container. Now inside this container, we're going to have an anchor tag, and it's just going to be called A like that. And we are going to go give it this class navbar brand. This is just going to be the brand of our website. Now we're going to have another container again, and we're going to give it the class of collapse and navbar collapse. And we're going to give it the ID of navbar nav like this. Now we're almost finished with our navigation. We just have a couple more things. We have to create the list, so it's going to be UL for unordered lists. And it's just going to have the class navbar nav and ms auto. Now remember, this is all thanks to Bootstrap right here. So we don't have to code any of this ourselves. Instead, Bootstrap has these styles already in the CSS file, and all we're doing is just calling these classes, and it does the rest for us using JavaScript and CSS. And now we can just quickly create all the sectional links right here. So we need home, about, services, blog, and contacts. So that means we're going to need 5 links. And here we have our links. So one's our nav item, that's going to be our class for each link. Then inside of each link, we're going to be having our anchor tag, and each anchor tag corresponding to this ID right here. And then we have the text. Anyway, so that finishes our navigation. Now we're going to go to this hero section. So we already have our ID, and we need to give it a class, because we're not going to go create our own style for this, and it's just going to have the class hero like so. And then we're going to go create our div right here, and we're going to go give it some content. So we're first going to go give it a h1 tag, and it's going to be like that. And we're just going to go give it some interesting type of text. So just transform your body and transform your life like that. And then we're going to go give it a little description using our paragraph right here. And we also want to make it look a bit stylized with this button right here. So here is our anchor tag. It's going to be connected to our services, and it's going to be a button primary, and it's just going to have the text explore services. And there we go. We have this done. So now we're going to quickly do this about me, which is going to be a bit more complicated, but not too bad. So here we are. We're going to go give our section a class, and it's just going to have the class of a background of a light background color. We're going to have a div, and it's going to have the class of container, and we're going to have another div inside of this div, and it's going to have the class of row and align items center. Now we're going to need one more div. I know we have a lot of div containers, and it's going to have the class column md6. So you don't need to know what any of this stuff is, but if you want, I can quickly leave you a link to this Bootstrap documentation in the description below, and you guys can read through that on your spare time. So we have our column right here. We're going to have two columns, and we're first going to have this text, and then we're going to have this image as well. So we're going to go give it our text, and it's going to be an H2 title right here. We're also going to need a paragraph as well. And we're going to need another paragraph as well, like that. And now we can fill it with our content, like about me, and also this text right here. And we're also going to use this text right here. And boom, now we have this looking nice. Now all we need is our image right here. So for this, we're going to need to create another column, and it's just going to have the class col-md6 like that. And we are going to go give it this image, and you can find any image, but this one specifically is from unsplash.com. And we have finished our about section, and we are done that. So guys, we are literally flying through this. We only have 3 more sections, and we are done our website. So guys, this is going to be a small section, but it's going to be probably the most complicating sections of all of them. And you can tell that it's just going to have a white background, so we do not need our BG light right here. Instead, we can just copy this, keep the class and the section padding, boom, like that, and there we go. Now we're going to create our div as usual. It's going to have a class, and it's going to have container, and it's also going to have text center, and this is just to center all of our content. Now we're going to create our services title right here, and it's going to just be called, of course, services, and it's going to have this MB-4. Now let's start creating these services boxes right here. So we're first going to create this one-on-one coaching by doing div like usual, and it's going to have the class of row and G4. Then we're going to have another div, and this is going to have the class as well of column MD4, and inside this div we're going to have another div, and this is going to have the class of card and of shadow. And we have one more div right here, and this one is going to have the class of card body like so. And now we can go put the content in our body, so we can go give it an H5 right here, and we can go give it the name of our service, one-on-one coaching. And then we can also give it our text right here, like so. And there we go. So that will be our first service. We can also do the same for all other services. And that will give us our workout plans, nutrition guidance service with a quick description saying what this service is about. And there we go. We have finished our services section. So that wasn't too bad. And now we have 2 more sections left, so let's keep cracking down on this website, guys. So again, like the last section, we are going to have a different colored background right here. So we're going to get all of this section, and we're going to need the padding as well, and we are just going to go give it a class and assign all of that to it. To the last section, this is going to have a div as well, and it's also going to have the class, and it's going to have a class of container as well as text center. And similar to our services section right here, we're also going to copy this H2, and it's going to have, instead of services, it's going to have blog, and you could put posts. Now we're going to create each of these again, which is similar to this, except it's just going to have an image instead of no image for our services. So we're going to create another div container, and it's going to have the class of row, and it's also going to have the class of G4. So similar to the services section right here, and I see that I made a mistake. Instead of having multiple rows, we only want one row and multiple columns. So we can quickly fix that just by taking out this, this goes there, that goes there, this comes out, boom, boom, and this comes out. So as I was saying, similar to our services section, this blog post will have pretty much the exact same code, but instead, as you can see right here, this 100 shadow, instead of just going right to another div class, we have our image right here. So we're going to copy this and we are going to paste it 3 times. So 1 and 2. And we only need 2 because we only have 3 of these. So we're going to go copy our content. We're going to copy this content as well. We already have this done. We're going to copy our text here. And there we go. That is our blog section. So that turned out pretty fast and effective. It was pretty similar to our services section, so it wasn't too hard. Now the context section is going to be a bit challenging, but pretty much that's all we have to do. So this section is going to have a class, and it's just going to have section padding right here. And as usual, we're going to have a div element, and it's going to have the class container as well as text center. It's going to also have a h2 element that's going to have contact me, and it's going to have the class mb4 like this. Then after that, we're going to have this paragraph, and it's just going to have this content interested in training. Now we're going to need to create these forms and text input fields as well as this button, which will not be a challenge at all. So let's do that. So we're going to create a form like this. It's going to have the class of mt4, and it's going to have a style, so an inline style of max width being to 600 pixels, and the margin is going to be auto. Now we're going to need 2 input fields, so let's quickly create our input fields like that. They are going to be of the type text, and it's going to just have this class as well, thanks to our bootstrap, and it's going to have the placeholder for your name, and then we're going to also have the same thing for your email. Then we're going to want to have a textaria box, and it's going to have 4 rows, and instead of your email or your name, it's going to have your message. Now all we want is our button. It's going to have a couple of classes to this button called BTN dark, and it's going to have a width of 100, and it's also going to have the message or text send message. So that's pretty much it for the website. All we have left is this footer section, and since the code is very small and pretty simple for that, I'm just going to copy and paste it right here, and you guys can copy off what's the screen. So here we have our footer. It's going to be using text center again. A background will be dark, text will be white, and we're just going to have this copyright 2025 Fit Strong, all rights reserved, so nobody copies our stuff because we worked hard for it, right boys? Right. And now for all that, we're pretty much finished. We do have to do one thing though. So here we go. We have our bootstrap.js right here, and that is pretty much it. One other thing that we're going to have to do for this website is also just go create a bit of styling, because not all the styles that we want are included with bootstrap.min CSS. And the styles that your boy wants right here is going to be some styling to the body, some styling to the hero. So we're going to go use this unsplash image, which you can use any image. You don't have to use this. We're going to use the hero 1, and this is going to be for our hero P, and this is for our section padding. So all the section paddings you see here, this is because of this right here. So here in my fitness website folder right here, we have this index.html, and if we double click it, let's see what we get. And okay, it's looking fine. Let's see if it works. So we have our little brand name here. If we click about, it scrolls down. Services, we got that too. And here you can see that we have the same image across all 3, and that's just because we copied and pasted and we didn't change any of the images. Contact will bring us down here. So that all works, everything works well, and we have built a website in about 10 minutes, all from code, all from scratch. So thanks for watching this video, guys. And remember, if you guys enjoyed the video or if it helped you in any way, please hit that like button below, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video.